Hello, and thank you for listening to this episode of the Moore's October Rants. Today's episode is going to be titled, You Have the Time, You Just Don't Care. One persistent frustration I've carried for years is the way people claim they don't have time to talk, when the truth is, they simply choose not to make time. It's rarely about their schedule, it's about their priorities. Time is elastic. Even the busiest individuals find moments to engage with what matters to them. Whether it's a quick message, a phone call, or a shared moment online, people allocate time based on value. When someone says they're too busy, what they often mean is that they're unwilling to invest effort in that particular relationship. What makes this especially aggravating is the dishonesty. Instead of being direct and saying, "I'm not interested in continuing this connection," they offer vague excuses. They hide behind their workload, their fatigue, or their obligations. But they never say, "I don't want to make time for you." That kind of honesty requires courage, and most people aren't willing to risk discomfort for the sake of clarity. This lack of transparency creates confusion. It leaves the other person wondering what went wrong, questioning their own worth, and trying to interpret mixed signals. It's a form of emotional evasion that wastes time and energy. If people were more forthright, it would allow others to move on without lingering doubt. But that would require a level of emotional maturity and self-awareness that many avoid. In our culture, avoidance is often mistaken for kindness. We're taught to preserve harmony by sidestepping difficult conversations. We're conditioned to believe that telling the truth will lead to conflict, and that conflict is inherently negative. But I believe the opposite. One of the most respectful things you can do for someone is to be honest with them. Even if the truth stings, it provides clarity. It allows people to make informed decisions about where to invest their time and emotional energy. Lies, on the other hand, offer temporary comfort. They're like junk food, easy, satisfying, and deceptively harmless. But just like junk food, they accumulate. They leave a residue. Over time, they erode trust and create emotional dissonance. The cracks begin to show, and the damage becomes harder to ignore. Dishonesty has long-term consequences. It undermines relationships, distorts communication, and fosters resentment. Eventually, the person on the receiving end begins to sense the disconnect. They notice the inconsistencies, the lack of effort, the subtle withdrawal. And while the liar may believe they're sparing someone's feelings, they're actually prolonging confusion and delaying closure. I recently experienced this firsthand. Back in March, I was speaking with someone I'd met online. We had developed a friendship, albeit a long-distance one, and I began to notice a shift. She wasn't making time to talk. Our conversations became sporadic, and the only moments she seemed truly engaged were during voice calls. I confronted her about it, expressing that the friendship felt one-sided and unsustainable. I told her I was stepping away. A week later, I reached out again. I apologized for the abrupt departure and expressed a willingness to continue the friendship. I acknowledged her work schedule and tried to give her the benefit of the doubt. She responded by saying she didn't have time for a friendship due to her job. On the surface, that seemed reasonable. But something didn't add up. During our first conversation, she had told me about a man she met online, a guy from Connecticut. They used to play Xbox together, spending hours talking and gaming. Their connection became romantic, and she invested significant time in that relationship. According to her, this happened last year, while she held the same job with the same hours. So the claim that she suddenly lacked time didn't align with her past behavior. It became clear that she had the capacity to make time when she wanted to. Her decision not to invest in our friendship wasn't about her schedule. It was about her interest. She simply didn't want to make the effort, and rather than admit that, she used her job as a shield. I'm not accusing her of lying outright. Perhaps she was genuinely tired. Perhaps her workload had increased. But the contrast between her past and present choices revealed a deeper truth. People make time for those they care about. When someone doesn't want to be honest about their intentions, you begin to feel the weight of ambiguity. You sense that something is off, even if they won't admit it. And when you confront them, they may deflect or gaslight you. They'll try to make you feel unreasonable for asking questions, for noticing patterns, for pointing out inconsistencies. That's what happened when I brought up her previous relationship. I wasn't trying to reopen old wounds. I was trying to highlight how she had once made time for someone, and now she wasn't willing to do the same. She's no longer in contact with that man, and I'm no longer in contact with her. But the point remains. People have more control over their time than they often admit. When they choose not to invest in you, it's not because they are incapable. It's because they are unwilling, and that distinction matters. In life, you'll encounter people who won't make time for you. Some will lie about it, others will deflect. Few will be honest. That's why it's important to recognize the signs and know when to walk away. You won't always get closure. You won't always hear the truth. But you can learn to trust your instincts. Manipulative people are especially skilled at using language to distort reality. They'll twist your words, question your judgment, and make you feel like you're the problem. They'll paint themselves as victims of circumstance, when in fact they're simply avoiding accountability. It's a tactic designed to preserve their comfort at the expense of your clarity. If something feels wrong, it usually is. That discomfort is a signal. It's your intuition telling you that something doesn't align. And when you feel that, it's worth exploring. Ask questions. Seek clarity. Don't be afraid to confront the issue, because silence and ambiguity only prolong confusion. Staying strong in these moments is essential. People who avoid honesty often rely on your doubt to maintain control. They hope you'll second-guess yourself, that you'll back down, that you'll accept their version of events. But once you recognize the pattern, you begin to reclaim your time and energy. There's nothing more draining than chasing someone who has no intention of meeting you halfway. It's a lesson many of us learn the hard way. But once you understand the value of your time, you begin to protect it. You stop investing in people who won't invest in you. Time is one of the most precious resources we have. How we spend it reflects what we value, and who we spend it with reveals what we prioritize. Surrounding yourself with people who make time for you isn't just comforting, it's affirming. It reinforces your worth and strengthens your relationships. Ultimately, honesty is the foundation of meaningful connection. Without it, everything else is unstable. When someone chooses to be truthful, even if it's difficult, they're showing respect. They're acknowledging your right to clarity. And that, in itself, is a form of care. So if you find yourself in a situation where someone won't make time for you and won't be honest about why, take that as information. It's not a reflection of your value, it's a reflection of their priorities. And once you see that clearly, you can make decisions that honor your time, your energy, and your self-respect. You deserve relationships built on mutual effort and transparency. Anything less is a distraction, and the sooner you recognize that, the sooner you can move forward with clarity and confidence. Anyways, thank you for listening to this episode of the Moore's October Rants. Signing out. Have a good one, guys. Goodbye for now.